It's day 11 of my 20-day decluttering challenge, and today we are doing part 1 of my living room. So this is going to be a 2-part video because my living room is on the bigger side. I do like dividing it into 2 halves. Could I do the whole thing in one day? Yes, but I also don't want to burn myself out for the rest of the challenge. And I think today I'm going to do that half of my living room. I'm going to do like my desk, half of my plants, and our bookcases. I usually start on the other half, but my pets are sleeping over here today, and it was a very rough weekend for them, just with us being busy, and then my son from college being home and then going back to college. They're a little off, so we're gonna let them rest. So enough talk. Let's get to it. So this is the half of the living room that I'll be working on today. It has my desk, it has a bunch of my plants, it has our bookcases. As you can see, my upholstery cleaner from last week from doing the cleaning closet is still out. I still need to try that, so I will take care of that today. So getting ready, getting the hair up, I'm going to pick a spot and work clockwise around the room. So I'm going to start off by doing my floating shelf above my desk. I am just starting with the things that I can see. This is a really good thing to do if you only have a few minutes to declutter, is just look at the things you can see, because that's going to make the biggest impact. So there is a container of wildflower seeds here. I pulled the seeds out so we could plant them, but I really like the container, so I'm going to leave that here for display. And then continuing with things that I can see, I am working on my desk. This is the little caddy with all my pens and stickers and highlighters for my planner and my to-do lists. And this is going to make a really big impact because the amount of times that I've reached in lately for a highlighter and it hasn't worked, and then I've put it back in my caddy. Like, why am I doing that? If it's not working, just throw it out. So I'm just going to go through those and sort through them. A really quick, easy task, because when you sit down to work, you want to make sure that whatever writing utensil you pick is going to work immediately. So just working on that really quickly. And as soon as I'm done with the highlighters, I'm going to continue working through the caddy, because this middle section, it's been really hard to put things away lately. So something else you can do really quickly, you only have a few minutes to declutter, take care of something that is driving you crazy. So this is going to be an easy fix. There's Post-it notes in here that were all scrambled at the bottom. I'm going to go through my stickers because I know that there's a bunch of stickers here that I'm just not using. So why am I keeping them? Just going to try and do my best. As you can see, I got up. There was a really big noise and my house started shaking. I wasn't sure if there was an earthquake at that point or what exactly was going on. There's construction on our road. So I got up to see, is everything okay? I didn't even realize that the vibrations from the house shaking affected my phone on the tripod. So I just went back to work once I knew things were okay. I'm so sorry about that. They've been doing new sewer lines on our road and putting in new gas lines. So because they've been digging up all of our yards and things, they're going through today with it's like a compactor, and it's just an attachment, and they just put it on the ground and it shakes everything. Like, it drives my animals crazy, it drives me crazy, but because my tripod is on its last legs, the attachments aren't very good, so all of the vibrations caused my phone to tip. So I'm really sorry about that. I don't know if you can even hear the noise. It's ridiculous. It's special. So back to work. So as you can see, it has been kind of crazy, noisy, loud, all of that lately. My caddy is done, so I'm moving on to my drawer. The drawer has been just full. I can't find anything lately. Both of my boys have recently discovered new hobbies within the past year, I'd say, And one of them is really big into Pokemon, and the other one is really big into Magic the Gathering. And they are starting me on my own collection. As you can see, I have some Doctor Who Magic cards now. So any random cards that they give me, whether it's like actual playing cards or just the full art cards just to display, I've been getting put into my desk. I do have a binder with my Pokemon card collection in it. It is very small. I love that they are excited that Mom wants to take an interest, and they're like, I don't know. I am enjoying their hobbies with them. So I'm just trying to sort through everything and put it and just make it a little bit nicer. So a quick 5-minute thing could be going through a desk drawer. I did put the art cards into a little, like my magic art cards into a little box, and then my playing cards into a binder. I am going to go back and redo that because if I get my own like magic deck, I want to, substitute in my playing cards, and it'll be easier to grab them out of a box. So that is something I will be going back and changing. And then I pulled all the Post-it notes out of my caddy because, as you could see, they were just a mess and getting ruined in there. So I'm going to put those into one of these containers, and then the other container will hold like stickers and my little binder with not Pokemon. It's a Pokemon binder, but it's for my magic cards. Just trying to organize things. I wanted to see if I could put my stickers in there because I don't like seeing it in my caddy, but just wasn't going to work out very well in the drawer. But I think I figured out a way to make it function and not be quite so messy and just be easier to organize. Moving on to our plants, and if you have plants and they're looking a little sad, some 5-minute tasks could be throw out ones that are being a pain in the butt. It is okay to throw out plants. I have a couple that kept threatening to die. I think one of them officially did die, and I was just tired of like stressing out over them. So I said, it's okay. I'm gonna let them go. I'm also tidying up their leaves. I haven't done this all winter, so as I go through and water them, any leaves that are like falling off or have fallen off, I'm going to make sure that I just put them in the garbage, just really tidy up this area. And then I'm also going to clean up the table, my plant table, to make sure that like it's dusted, because it's just hard to dust this every week, and just make sure that like any water spills that have happened are cleaned up, and just really try to make this a little bit of a nicer spot. So while I work on my plants, I want to just remind you that clutter is not just items that we're not using in our home that we need to get rid of. It is not just broken things in our drawers that we need to throw out that we haven't been throwing out. It is anything in our home that is robbing us of our peace. I love my living room and it stays fairly tidy, but I do have a hard time relaxing when I know that there are things that need to be done in here, like decluttering my plants, throwing out the ones that are dead or that I'm tired of fighting with, going through and removing their leaves. Maybe it's, getting the cobwebs, thoroughly vacuuming my floor. Anything that causes us stress in our home can be clutter. So when I'm doing my declutter challenges and I'm doing things like my plants, a lot of people don't see that as clutter, but to me it really is. And I have noticed since doing this task that I feel a lot better in my living room, and I'm actually able to rest better and recharge my batteries after a long day. I will be the first to admit that didn't click into my brain until probably a couple years ago when I don't even remember where I heard it from, but the silent to-do list, where there's just things that we know we have to do, and it doesn't really make it onto our to-do list. So it could be like chipping paint. It could be, oh, I need to fix this item, or, oh, I have to make sure that I do X, Y, or Z thing at some point. It's just those things add to our mental load. And once I realized that, I was able to understand clutter a little bit better and the whole process of decluttering. I wish I could figure out where I heard that from, because I'd love to go back and like listen to it more. I think there's a book on it, or maybe it's a podcast. I'm not sure. But when we start thinking of all of those things as clutter and we start taking care of them as we're able to without burning ourselves out, our homes really do start to feel like those places of rest and peace that we so desperately crave. So yeah, me taking care of my plants is a chore, but I love my plants. And then just making sure that I declutter them and do this process really does bring such rest to me. Like I said, I don't have my vacuum cleaner today, so I'm just using the broom as best as I can, sweeping out under the plant table from leaves that have fallen and underneath the brown love seats. Usually there's like some food wrappers and things like that like my kids have left, like that have gotten like stuffed into the cushions, that because this is a recliner will actually fall through. But surprisingly, there weren't any today, so good job to my kids. Just a lot of plant leaves because Mama has not been taking care of her plants lately. All right, now we're moving over to the bookcases. I'm watering these plants. These first two ones have holes in the bottom, so I actually put them in this big pot over here, just in case any water comes out the bottom of the pot. I don't want it to like ruin my bookcases. So I put them in there, I water them, and after a while I will put them back on the bookcase. All right, books. This is such a hard thing to declutter. Books are just like, I would almost put them in the sentimental category, just because if you love to read, like books tell such great stories that they are hard to part with. So if you are going to look through your books, I would look through them and be like, are there any books here that bring out any negative emotions that we don't like? There are some book series that I love, but reading them is very difficult because it can trigger like my PTSD or my anxiety at times. That doesn't bring me peace. I don't enjoy those feelings, so I've actually gotten rid of them. There is a book in here that I did get rid of just because it was okay. Would I read it again? Probably not. So why am I going to keep it? So anything that brings out negative emotions, anything that we know we will not read again, and then just working on curating a library that we love is really hard, but just taking these little baby steps to just pull out anything that we don't like. I do have a to be read pile in here, so my TBR pile is probably what I'll call it from here on out. So I'm just trying to organize my books. There have been some new favorites I've added, so just trying to figure out where things go. I try to put my books in alphabetically. The problem is that that second shelf is just one author. So trying to keep it alphabetical but work around that one shelf. And there's this one book in here that is just so big that I actually had to put it on the top right up there on its side because that's the only way it's going to fit. I don't like the way it looks, but progress over perfection. I can actually fit all of my books in here now by just moving that up there. So it's not perfect, but that's okay. And just trying to rearrange things so I know where to find my books, and everything has a little bit of breathing space, so it's easier to put things away and pull books out. My dog at this point was trying to climb up on the love seat, and he was not having a good day. He was a little depressed because my college son went back to school the previous day and he was missing him. So his movements and things were a little bit like slower and stiffer. And it was just, do I call the vet? Do I not call the vet? He's fine now. He just needed a couple days to recover from his boy leaving. after going over just to make sure Mason was okay, I did see a toy underneath the bookcases, so I had to grab that and make sure that that got put away. And then make sure at the end of your declutter sessions, you leave time to clean up. Because if you don't, as you can see, it looks messier here in this half of my living room than it was originally. You're just going to feel more frustrated, and this clutter is going to attract more clutter. So making sure everything is tidy and put away is a really, really important step in the decluttering process. I also have this little bumblebee that my best friend bought me when I was visiting her in Dallas last month, and I made the joke to my husband, I'm like, I'm going to hang him up above my plants so it looks like he's flying. And he's like, okay. I'm like, oh, all right. So because the bee has been sitting around for a couple weeks and just moving place to place, he's technically clutter. So I'm going to make sure that I take care of him and hang him up. I did hang him up in such a way that I can pull him down, because when we play Dungeons and Dragons with our best friends, my character actually has a bumblebee. He is my character's emotional support pet because my character has PTSD. I use it as a way of like my therapy, like working through PTSD and things like that, because I myself have it. So I want to make sure that I can pull my bee down if I want it during our D&D sessions. But I think he looks really cute there. Yes, I am in my 40s and I have a stuffed animal problem, but he's cute. All right, taking care of the upholstery cleaner, I decided rather than use it on the furniture, I was just going to use it in the sink to make sure that it was working. And apparently it was user error the last couple times I've used it, because it's working fine. I don't know what my problem was, but it's working, and that makes me happy. So just finishing tidying up, sweeping up the floor as best as I can, and just really making sure this side of the room feels a lot better. I know I've been saying this a lot this challenge, but I know it doesn't look that different, but it really does feel different. I know there's some stuff on my desk that I still need to take care of, so it's just there, so I will actually do it. But I don't know. This side just makes me feel happier now, knowing that it's done and my silent to-do list isn't screaming at me. I mean, look how happy my plants are. Now that they've been cleaned out, they've been watered, the dead leaves are gone, the dead plants are gone. I ended up getting rid of 3 plants. And then my little bee just floating above his plants, looking really cute. Like I said already, not a lot was gotten rid of today, and that is a perk of decluttering often, is that the more you do it, the less you're going to have to get rid of, and it's just going to be easier to do, and your home is going to be so much easier to maintain. However, there were some things that I was able to do today that really are taking it's lightening my mental load, like knowing that my plants have been taken care of, the ones that I've killed are taken care of. My stickers, I've been gone through. My TBR pile in my books it's not blocking other books. I'm still not happy with that one book at the top of the shelf, but it's just so big, it doesn't really fit in the bookcase. So until I figure something else out, it's better than it was. My books fit better. So I'm going to call it a win. It was a little bit easier than I thought it was. I feel a little bad now for tomorrow because I know tomorrow's project is going to be a lot bigger. So, but that's a problem for tomorrow. I'm going to enjoy the rest of this gloomy, noisy day. There's so much construction going on our road today, so it's okay. But thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow, which will happen now. Welcome to tomorrow, which is now today. Today is day 12. I'm losing count of my days for my spring declutter challenge. It is part 2 of the living room. So I'll show you in just a second what the second half of my living room looks like. I just know that today is not going to go to plan, because normally when I decluttered this side of the living room, I'll take the cushions off of the couches, I'll vacuum them thoroughly, I'll vacuum underneath them, completely vacuum out the rug and everything like that. But yesterday my vacuum cleaner stopped working, so I rinsed out all of the filters and they're not dry yet. So I've known for a while that I needed to clean the filters before something like this happened. And I just kept putting it off because I do procrastinate on things because I'm like, oh, it's too much of a job or a task to do. And yeah, now I'm kind of wishing I had done it earlier, but it's okay. So we're just going to just do a declutter. We're not going to do the deep clean today. I will sweep underneath the furniture and sweep up like the bay window because I'm going to finish the rest of the main collection of my plants. I do have a few more plants scattered throughout the house, but the majority of them are in the living room as of right now. Once we finish our sunroom, which might be this year, a lot of the plants will move out there, or maybe I'll just get more plants, or maybe both. We'll see. But enough talk. I'm ready to get this project underway because I know it's going to take me a while, because this side of the living room always takes a lot longer than I expect it to. So let's go. Here is the side of the living room that I will be working on today. There's a lot that I need to do. I have to go through the coffee table, the entertainment center. I have to finish my plants. I want to do underneath the couch and the love seat. So this side always takes a little bit longer. I'm just picking up where I left off yesterday, and I'm going to work clockwise around the room again because that really helps me know where to go. It's just a methodical way to do it. I'm not really going to do this table here because it's full of my husband's things, so I need him to do it. But a quick, easy task to do in a living room or any room is, if you have a garbage can, empty the garbage. It's going to make a big impact whether you think it or not, just because when you try to put the garbage away, it doesn't like bounce out and fall on the floor, and it just makes the whole room easier and neater looking. So you can see my dog wants to help, but he's just underfoot, and then my sidewalk supervisor is over there silently judging me and the way that I am moving furniture. He's just excited to see, are his catnip mice that he has lost underneath the couch. And I think I found one under this couch, but there were a lot under the love seat, which you'll see in a minute. There actually wasn't a lot under the couch, which was surprising, but it was very dusting. If I only had a few minutes to do my living room, I would not be doing underneath the furniture. Unless there was a strange smell coming from underneath the furniture, I would not be wasting my time doing this because you can't see it. So unless I knew there was a smell or I knew something was lost under there, I wouldn't be dealing with it. But because I'm doing my entire room, I am taking the time to do it. I'm sweeping, I'm mopping, I'm doing like the wall and the floor with the mop just because of the cobwebs and things like that. There are some of us in our family who are sensitive to dust, so just making sure that it's a safe, healthy environment for us. So now that that was done, I'm going to put the couch back and then just tidy that up really quickly. Another quick task you can do in a living room is go through blankets and your pillows. If there's pillows or blankets that are like really worn, or you're not using them, it's okay to let them go. We did this recently, so I will not be going through our pillows or blankets. You will see the blanket basket in a little bit. I don't feel the need to go through it again because we did that recently. I just found like 6 catnip mice, so I threw them on the floor for the cats to play with as I continue working, and moved the love seat out, and just going to go through the plants on the bay window, doing the same process as yesterday. So are there any dead plants that need to be gotten rid of, or any that I am just tired of fighting with? It's okay to let them go. You can pass them on to somebody else who might want them. I have taken half-dead plants from people before and brought them back to life, either to return back to them or just keep for myself. And just tidying up like dead leaves. That red clover is infamous for having dead leaves. It just goes through leaves so fast that I could do this weekly and still come away with a handful of leaves. And just really tidying up this area, getting rid of anything that just we don't need or doesn't belong, and then tidying up the area. As you can see, there were some construction vehicles again today that just went by. One guy didn't see me, the other one kind of like looked at me like, what are you doing? So it's always interesting with all of this construction, like especially if I have my windows open. What are they thinking of me and my craziness? So I sprayed down the bay window because, you know, there's some like dirt that's been caked on. I'm going to let my cleaner just soak for a while. And as it's soaking, I'm going to go over to the corner. I'm going to declutter this area. I'm going to declutter the table and go through the plants over here. I'll sweep and mop because I know this corner gets really dusty just because with the arrangement of our furniture, it's really hard to get back here and clean often. I do try at least once a month to like vacuum or pick up like the dead leaves and things, but if you've been around a while, you know that cleaning is not my favorite thing to do, and I tend to be very lazy when it comes to things like that. So I'll just be like, oh, it's too hard to climb back there. Is it really too hard? No, but my brain has me convinced that it is. So once that is done, I'm going to wipe off the bay window just to get that drying, and I'll continue sweeping and just trying to start putting things away. This is going much faster than I expected it to, but like, look at all those dead leaves, and that's even after taking a handful of things that were too big for the dustpan away. It's ridiculous. I love my plant collection, but sometimes I'm like, this is a lot of work to keep up with it. But they make me happy. And fun fact, my husband probably loves them as much, if not more than I do. The other day we were out and about with our youngest, and we had to run to Home Depot for something for the house. And my youngest didn't want to go in, which was fine. And so I'm like, hey, I'll hang out with him in the car. And I'm like, that'll keep me from buying a new plant. I don't have the budget, or I didn't budget for a new plant this month. And he's like, okay, that's fine. So I'm sitting in the car, and as he comes walking back to the car, he has a new plant for me because it was lonely and he thought it was neat. So yeah, my husband enables my plant addiction. He has some of his own plants, and he's always like, let's do the sunroom. Let's finish our sunroom so we can get more plants. So a lot of people don't believe me that he loves them as much as I do, but he really, really does. All right, finishing putting everything away, and then putting my string of lights back, and then closing up the sheer curtains just because that's easier to do when the love seat is not pushed in. Just trying to tidy up as best as I can before moving on to the next area of the living room. And just as a warning for this next section coming up is that we store some things in our living room that aren't typically stored in living rooms. So it's going to be a little weird sharing some tasks because you may not have these items in your living room. But before we get to there, I am going over our shelf on our accent wall. We put this in a couple years ago just from our character, and going through decor. Any items that you have, whether it's on a wall or just like on a flat surface, just going through those once in a while. Does this kind of fit the vibe I'm going with in my home? And just going over that. We really like the way that this shelf was decorated. My daughter actually did it, so I think she really knocked it out of the park. All right, and now into the entertainment center. We store our stamps, envelopes, extra desk items that don't fit in my desk in here. So these could be items that wherever your like home office area is, go through, you know, your extra pens, your paper clips, your envelopes, and your stamps, making sure that is all organized, that you're well stocked on that. Another quick task you can do in your living room is dust. Apparently, I have not moved my decor piece that was on that shelf there just out of frame in a really long time. So I gave that a really thorough dusting. And then we have this box here, which is papers that we might need in the future or are important things that we need to have like immediate access to. So just going through that, making sure that there's nothing in there that needs to be, you know, tossed or recycled. And then this hanging file folder has like my kids' college papers that we might need in here. It's got we have a folder for our tax items, so I pulled out all of our taxes because we did those, and I'm going to put that into long-term storage. And then I keep a file folder with checks that we've mobile deposited, and I'm going through those because the ones that have been around long enough that we know there won't be an issue, I am going to make sure that those are disposed of properly. So just going through your papers once in a while, school papers, I still had a paper from soccer, like from the coach, the letter from the coach, and the not manual, but like the handbook. That was from the fall. It is now the spring. We're halfway through spring sports. We don't need that anymore. Going through your mobile deposited checks. Things like that are really good tasks that you can do quickly. Even just doing one of them quickly is a really good way to make an impact and keep clutter at a minimum. And next I'm going over to our coffee table, which we have bins of toys here. Our kids have outgrown these. We have building blocks and Duplos and, fake food, and there's some balls down here. But I keep them on hand because there are times when we have littles. They're not bothering us having them here, but I am wrestling with, do I really need to keep them? Do I not need to keep them? I actually did find the bandages from when my dog was having his leg issues. Ever since his surgery, we haven't needed them, so I'm actually going to put those away properly. I forgot they were in here, so that was one thing I was able to declutter. But it's just, do I keep the toys? Do I put them somewhere else? I'm not sure yet. Jury is still out on that one. And then Jasmine found one of the catnip mice that had been lost under the love seat, and she was very, very excited to have a toy to play with. So I'm glad I was able to get this cute little video of her. She is our foster cat, so I was able to send it to her mom and let her see that Jasmine was having a good day. And then here is the after. Just like with the other half of the living room, it doesn't look that different. I do need to vacuum so badly. It's driving me nuts, but this really does feel a lot better over here. So that went a lot faster than I expected, probably because I didn't vacuum. And again, I'm a little frustrated that there's really not much to get rid of, but at the same time, it's also very realistic to not always have a lot of things to get rid of, and that doesn't make it any less important to declutter. I've been decluttering for, oh my goodness, a really long time, definitely over a decade. My youngest is 15, so almost 15 years, and I just really think that, all the habits and things that I've been implementing have made it so clutter doesn't appear quite as often. And I just need to remember that it's still important to declutter. I'm also a little frustrated because my floor desperately needs to be vacuumed, so I don't feel like I'm officially done. Progress over perfection. Progress over perfection. I will vacuum later. I'm going to put the filters in front of the window so the breeze will help them dry, and just stay out of the living room until it's done. My room, any space in my home could be very messy, but if the floors were vacuumed, I would just feel like it was just a busy day and I haven't had time to put things away. But my room could be very clean, but if the floors are messy, I'm gonna feel like a slob. I don't know. Maybe that's just a me thing. I don't know. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you are enjoying these videos and the tips that I am sharing. Let me know down below if you have any questions. I would love to answer them. Or if you need any help with your decluttering and organizing projects, I would love to support you in any way I can. I will talk to you later. Happy decluttering. Bye.